Turn that damn roof off!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, as we're going to have plenty of things to discuss today here on the show. We'll get into a lot of Razorback football talk because we're turning the page a little bit to that, but we'll still give you some updates on basketball, baseball, all the things going on in the sports world. I'm sure some nonsensical things that'll pop up and make the show go completely off the rails, but that's what we're here for. And of course, we'll get into your chats and everything as well. But fellas, how are we feeling on a Tuesday, a warm Tuesday here in Northwest Arkansas?
Good, great, chilling, happy. I'm not to the point yet where with, basketball being done and, college baseball being done that I'm going crazy, that I'm too sports starved. It helps that I've become a UFC fan, so like some weekends will be able to be taken up by that. But yeah, so far so good, man. It's been a solid start to the week.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too stressed out with just how much free time there is, and I say that like kind of seriously. Obviously, it's nice to not be super busy all the time, but I think the three of us kind of operate at our best when we are busy. It kind of keeps us focused, keeps us locked in. So whenever there's a time period where there's not a ton on the horizon, we don't really know what to do with ourselves. And so it's kind of stressing me out, but it's also exciting because we get to do new things. We get to have new conversations and develop new skill sets. That's what we're going to do this summer.
Yeah, it's just going to be fun to talk about all the things happening and, have some fun discussions with people. And who knows, maybe even be surprised and have some crazy things happen within Arkansas and the program itself. So I can never count out the summer to get a little bit of crazy when it comes to all things sports. But we'll discuss a lot of different things and have some fun with it. And I know here over the next few weeks, again, getting to the football side of things too. I think it's interesting that anytime, I even told you guys this before the show started, anytime I feel like I tweet out something about football or even make anything like, so even if I retweet something about football, it's not even me tweeting it. And then I retweet something, it's kind of met with a lot of angst and just whatever, don't care, everything. And that's not to say everybody's that way, but it is kind of the fascinating thing. We're going into this summertime. I know that you guys have been covering Razorback athletics, but specifically maybe baseball and basketball more, but still you're a part of that football side of things at Hawk Sports, because I felt like everybody who works at Hawk Sports, you got to be a part of football. But it's just so interesting to see where this summer, it's going to be almost unprecedented in a way of approaching a season where there is a lot of maybe lacking of excitement, but also intrigue and not really knowing, like nobody really feels like maybe the team's going to be a great, but people are still by nature trying to find things to be hopeful for and maybe feel like it could go really well, but they're kind of struggling with that. So it's just a very interesting summertime, I feel like, for a football season that I at least have never experienced in the way that Razorback fans in general are kind of looking at this football season. Some think high, some think low, but either way, I think there's just a lot of mystery and a lot of confusion pretty much about the direction and what things are going to look like this upcoming season.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a tough one to kind of wrap your head around exactly how you're supposed to feel, right? Because everybody down here gets excited about college football. I mean, how could you not? Especially when you're coming off of, what's going to be a, 6, 7, 8 week break, even before the start of fall camp, So it's like, by the time college football gets here, you're ready for it, man. And this is the SEC, and whether people want to admit it or not, football is king down here. So people are going to be excited about it, but it's kind of that balancing act of being excited. You're always going to cheer on your Razorbacks. You're always going to be pumped up when the games come around, but also having a realistic vibe for where they're at. And that's kind of how you have to set your expectations, or hell, you can set them however you want. I'm not telling people how to feel, but when the team is, this is not just us saying it. And when like SEC Media Days in less than a month here, and the media poll will come out or whatever, and they'll be picked, I don't know, like 14th or something in the league probably. So there's not a lot of super high expectation about them. Does that mean that they can't exceed expectations? No, of course not. But when there's not a lot of external or internal excitement about them being really good, or this is the year and taking the next step and everything like that, it's kind of hard to manage your excitement for just, hey, football season is finally here. And, but is the team really going to be that good? So I get it. And some people are just excited and they say, screw it, I don't care. My Hogs are going to be rolling anyway. We love having the chip on our shoulder, and that's great. And then there's a lot of other people who've been, burned by this before, and they're very much on the, whatever, see you in November for basketball. I probably fall, honestly, somewhere in the middle between the two. I think it's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you both are kind of on a similar page to me. And John, I can certainly sympathize with being bullied every time you tweet about Razorback football, because anytime I tweet anything, I get bullied in that regard as well. But Curtis, I think you're 100% right that we kind of need to get on the same page about what we're trying to get out of this situation. Like what our expectations are, what like mental stakes we have, because we always kind of do that as fans. We're always preparing for the best and the worst at the same time, and kind of leaving ourselves built-in excuses, doing all these things. Because I think you bring up a good point that like it's not just us saying that, hey, the expectations are not very high for Arkansas football, even lower than they were last year, which wound up being a winning season technically. And so I think there's a lot of fans who probably push back against that and say, I think it's crazy everyone's counting Arkansas out, and you're more than well within your rights to feel that way. But then what does that mean? Does that mean that if the team goes under 8-4, you're going to be mad? Like, is a 6-6 season good? Is a 4-8 season horrible? Is it unacceptable? Like, where are we really setting the bar at? And we have a while to kind of figure it out. But I think Hog fans need to kind of get on the same page, because ultimately, like last year, Arkansas goes 7-6. We should have all been able to look at that and say, you know what? They were better than they were supposed to be. It was competitive. Wasn't where we wanted to be, but that was solid. But the expectation was so skewed depending on who you talk to. That was either the worst season ever or the best season ever, depending on which fan you talk to. And it just kind of leaves it in a weird mess. I don't want to have that. I want us to at least know when the season plays out whether or not our expectations were met, we're happy, or we're sad. Like, I want us to all be on the same page.
Yeah, well, and it's difficult too, because you mentioned how the year went last year, which there's no doubt it was an improvement. I mean, you went from 4-8 to 7-6. I don't think you need to hang any banners or anything like that, but still, you made improvement and you got back on the right track. You weren't this embarrassing joke of a program that was 1-7 in SEC play. You went 3-5. You had some things go right for you and everything. But what really killed, because that's the thing, is I thought about this yesterday, guys, how different I would feel, maybe you guys would feel, all of us would feel, is if they had Jalen Braxton coming back and Patrick Kutas coming back and Luke Has coming back, and some of these guys that went to other SEC schools, Addison Nichols, not saying that these guys were all Americans, but just knowing it's like, okay, well, I saw them, I saw what they did. So now after another year, your immediate go-to thought is like, well, you'll develop, you'll get better. And the familiarity, I think, goes a long way for maybe how people would feel. Like if you went 7-6, but you're like, hey, we still have this guy coming back who were really good last year, or maybe were hurt, but they're going to come back when they were really good before they got hurt. I think that would have changed and have everybody's mindset be so differently. But when you lose a lot of these players, especially to the SEC schools, a lot of players that were really good, and you didn't really have a whole lot of splashes in the transfer portal coming in. And so you're like, okay, so I don't know anything about these guys. Like, I don't know who these players are. I didn't watch them in the SEC last year. I didn't watch them at any point in time. And so I think it would just be a lot different if people felt like they knew the team, if that makes sense. They knew who they had coming in. And instead, it's kind of, we're just hoping these guys are good at this point in time.
Yeah, that's a really good point, John. You can look at some of that, I think, in two different ways. It depends on if you're a, glass half empty or half full with the Razorback Kool-Aid kind of guy. But, you could say, dang, man, like Lane Kiffin's taking our most talented players. He's our dad. This is crazy, unacceptable. Or you can do the thing where it's like, yeah, but like Braxton didn't really play and Kutas didn't really play. They were hurt. So how big of a loss is it really? Whatever. My whole thing the entire time, even when we were talking about this during portal season, was I would have been way, way more on board with the additions they made if they were in addition to those guys that you hope to get back. That's how you get better. That's how you take the next step, instead of trying to replace something that with an unknown, right? It kind of goes back to the basketball philosophy with Cal. Like, there's a reason why they prioritize retention as much as they possibly could, and trying to get as many of their good players back as they can. Now it's a different story. It's a 15-man roster versus 85 or whatever. I get it. But when you have pieces back and a core back from a group that was really successful, that makes you feel good. And we could question whether or not last year was really successful. It was a step in the right direction from where they were, but I don't know that anybody was throwing a parade. In fact, they were getting the pitchforks out in a lot of situations there. So I wish that would have been the case. It's not. And with all these newcomers, we can argue all day about whether or not they're better or worse than who they're replacing, or if this is going to work better. Are they going to be better fits? Are they going to get along more? I mean, whatever. We're not really going to know until they get out there. Some people can look at it and be like, hey, I've never really heard of these guys, so why would I expect them to be better than, Andrew Armstrong or, Luke Has or whoever it might be? Or again, like if you're sipping that Kool-Aid a little bit, you can do the thing of, we just don't know. Like it's the unknown, and we've been surprised before. So maybe these guys are awesome. People, again, feel however you want to feel, but at the end of the day, for me, I just wish that they added this class on top of a lot of those guys that they lost that I know that they would like to have had back.
Yeah, it's not impossible to build your entire roster through the portal and have a good football team. Like, we've seen it happen. I don't know if we've necessarily seen it happen at like a championship, truly like a great team in college football be built 100%. Usually you have that mix of your 3 and 4 year guys, your returners, your blue chip freshman or sophomore, and your transfers to add on top of it. And so it's kind of interesting with what Arkansas is doing the last few years, basically replacing 35, 40 guys from the roster every year in the portal. It's not like an impossible method. And we've seen them. I mean, hell, last year's team in Arkansas was mostly built through the portal, and they were, a 7-6 team. So it's like, you can do it, but what it does is just put a ton of stress on your coaching staff, and it puts you kind of behind the 8 ball. And so it's fascinating because it's like, it sets up where there's a path to this season going well. And we look back and say, man, this coaching staff, they nailed a ton of these evaluations, credit to them, but then they're going to have to go out and do it again the next year. And so it just kind of continues doing this same cycle. And for the guys that think we're being too negative, we would love to sit there and be like, man, all these receivers that, Ismail Cece, who had 12 career receptions, like he turned out to be very good. Great evaluation from the staff. They're capable of doing that. They've made moves like that in the past, but you kind of need a lot of those things to happen for this football team. And so it could wind up being an interesting story.
Well, and I think too, you have to be able to have like one or the other or both. You have to be able to have the retention element to it, or you have to have the big splashes in the transfer portal to make up for the people that lost, or both, which is the best of all worlds. It's a lot more difficult to do both, but that was the thing where, and we'll take basketball and baseball, for instance. I mean, not to say that, because I just saw, I guess that in the baseball side of things, which I know the transfer portal and everything that's going on, but like Zane Becker, was at Arkansas. Now he transferred to Texas A&M. Is that a player that Dave Van Horn really wanted to have next year? Maybe so. But it's not something of like, oh, gosh, well, that's a huge loss, anything like that, because you kind of feel confident that they'll have somebody like Ryder Helfrich who is right there in the mix. So, but in football, you basically lost guys that you really wish you still had. And in basketball, you didn't really have that problem. Like you lost Boogie Flan, and Boogie Flan was great and everything, and he's a good player and all that. But you still felt like, well, we got this guy instead, and I feel good about this. But in football, for this year at least, when you lost a Patrick Kudus, you're like, well, it'd been nice to have him back because he was pretty good. Same thing with Jalen Braxton. I know he didn't play a whole lot last year. In fact, he played like 5 seconds, I think. But, you're like, well, I'd really like him on this team. That'd be really good. That's where it takes place for fans trying to like get themselves psyched into it of like, okay, but how can I justify my belief and your hope? Because hope and faith and that's just things that you have in your team and your program come from something. It comes from some sort of evidence or some sort of basis that you can have. And after this past season and this offseason, it's just like fans are like, okay, we want to have something. We want to have something to believe in and be hopeful for. But it just makes it difficult when, you're basically, your hope is built on simply hope. Like that's it. It's like you're just hoping that these guys are really good. You're hoping that the team collectively is better. You're hoping that Taylor Green takes that next step. You're hoping all of this instead of feeling confident of like, hey, I saw this guy play last year on this team and he was really good and he's going to be just as good, if not better than this upcoming season. So it's just a very interesting part of it. And I think that, the common day of college football and college sports in general, you're going to see transfers, you're going to see new faces and everything like that. But this football season, man, it's like fans are just going to have to get out the media guide and be like, all right, let's look at these guys. I got to figure out who's that number out there. Like, I have no idea. It's just, it's a new thing to them. But, luckily they have a really easy schedule, right? to help out make up for that? And
Well, yeah, I mean that's the other factor of this, and I think it was Evan Baker a little bit earlier in the chat, and he was saying, like a way to give a little bit of hope is winning early, and that's very true because it's a challenging and also like a very intriguing and nerve-wracking, early portion of the schedule there. If they drop a couple games early on, like it's going to be really hard to keep people on board. But there's also a scenario out there that's not like crazy far-fetched to where, you start 3-1 or hell, 4-0 is not the craziest thing in the world either. You just have to like win at Ole Miss and then beat the teams you're supposed to beat going in that Notre Dame game. Like there's an opportunity there for them to generate that hope and that buzz and that excitement, whether it's fool's gold or not with what lies ahead of them. They could do that. And I think for some people, that's what they're going to be looking at. I don't, especially after last year, like I don't think people are going to, be jumping all the way back on the bandwagon to the level they were a year ago after, if they beat Alabama A&M or whoever the hell it is, 75-0. But like the Arkansas State thing, avoid an embarrassing disaster there. Winning at Memphis, you'll have a lot of people who would be doing the thing of, they won 10 games last year or whatever, and making it something that maybe it's not. Then that Ole Miss game. It's like there's opportunities early to generate that excitement. I don't know if it's going to be at the level that it typically is throughout fall camp. And frankly, after what we saw in the spring, where it just didn't seem like there was as much, like the university itself or the program itself didn't seem to me at least to be trying as hard to generate that excitement. And I haven't seen a whole bunch of it this summer. I know they'll put out some still shots of guys lifting weights or whatever. I don't know that we're going to get a ton of that in camp either. We'll see.
This kind of all ties back into the expectation, which is what we kind of started this whole spiel with of like, what are we going into this football season hoping to get? What even do the fans want? Obviously they want to win. They want to have a team they can get behind. But what does that look like for specific fans? And I think back to the times when Sam Pittman was the most loved, the most we ever got behind Sam Pittman. Really, it started with that 2020 season when there were literally no expectations. That was obviously a different time in the world, but it was like nobody even knew, how to even start to set the bar. It was just kind of like, let's just see what we got with this team. And we're kind of there now in 2025, which is not really what you want to be as you enter year 6. The kind of just, let's see what happens. Let's roll the balls out there and see. But if you think about Sam Pittman and the times that we've loved him the most and he's been the most dear to us, it's been when he's been the overachiever, when he's been the guy that was the underdog that kind of gave you more than you expected. And I think for this Razorback team that we talk about, there's not a ton of expectation, not a ton of like on paper sense that points to them being really good. It kind of sets itself perfectly for Sam Pittman to kind of be that overachiever, and they worked for everything they got. They were blue collar, kind of get back to what it was that made Hog fans love Sam Pittman. But an important part of that story for that to work out is we all have to acknowledge in the preseason that on paper, this team is not supposed to be good by any stretch of the imagination. And there's no real thing you can point to as to why this team would be good, so that if they are, it becomes this awesome Arkansas story. But we have to agree on the first part before we can have the fun of the second part.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that, get to your chats and everything too. But there's some interesting graphics too I want to share here in just a second. First, got to tell you about our friend over at Heritage Realty Group Company, and his name is Devin Rogers. He is the guy, and he's proud to help folks all over the River Valley with buying and selling homes, whether it's your first place, your forever home, or anything in between. Devin brings you that local experience, honest advice, and no pressure approach that keeps you in control. If you're ready to talk real estate, or hey, talk about the upcoming Razorback football season and how you feel like the expectations are going to go, you can give him a call or text him at 479-217-2048. That's 479-217-2048. It's Devin Rogers with the Heritage Group Real Estate Company right there in the River Valley. So, guys, I know that... Can
I throw something in there real quick? Because I see what those graphics are. This is related, but I just wanted to ask and see, because we're talking about the team and everything. Did you guys see the EA Sports, the initial player ratings that came out for
Did
next?
They come out with all of them? I saw some of like the players that they like, I guess, had randomly.
I'm talking Arkansas specific.
Oh, I did not know.
Okay, so I saw this. I saw it on Hawk Sports this morning, and I read the story. So I wanted to share it with you guys real quick and just see what you think. But basically it was good stuff there from Connor, but he was kind of doing a compare and contrast from last year. They don't have like the team specific ratings and everything like that, but he had a bunch of the players. And so he had the top 10 Razorback players by rankings on here. Who do you think the number one guy is? The highest rated Razorback on this game?
Xavier Sorey.
I'll say Carmona.
It's Carmona. 92
Wow.
for Carmona, which is way up there. But what he said last year, the Razorbacks had let's see, they were 85. They had 6 players rated 85 overall or higher last year. And this year they have 3. So you've got Carmona, the highest at 92. Who do you think the highest rated wide receiver is?
Omega Blake.
Yes. You care to guess on the score?
82.
87.
Wow. So he's like the number 2 player on the team?
Yeah.
Number 2 on the team. Talon is number 3 at 86. And then at 83 overall, you have Braylon Russell, Jaheim Singletary, Cam Shanks, Phillip Lee, who's the defensive end they got in the spring, Mike Washington, and you got Larry Worth and Cam Ball at 82.
Larry Worth and Cam Ball being the same overall is incorrect.
It's nuts, man. It's absolutely nuts. And so he went through this whole thing. It's a good read. I'd encourage people to check it out, but just basically doing a compare and contrast of like the averages for the position groups and everything. And, because last year Arkansas was like an 85 overall, but they were an 82 offense and 82 defense or whatever. And they're significantly lower. And this is a video game rating. It's like whatever, but based on his calculations, they'd be like somewhere between a 75 and a 77 overall whenever this year's game officially releases. I think they'll be a little bit higher than that, but when we're talking about replacing talent and, is this team better than last year's or whatever, according to a video game, at least they're skeptical about what that might look like. So I just wanted to share that real quick. I know we're talking football, so
no, I'm glad you did. Cause I was actually going to bring up today, which again worked out perfect. I was like, who's going to be the highest rated player on the game? But hey, there you go. I didn't see that. But actually I tried going on hogsports.com and looking at the article, clicked on it twice. Some popped up that I did not. Something was virusy about all of that. So just throwing it out there.
I clicked on it on my phone this morning. I got the same thing. It was like, we're doing an antivirus scan or something.
Yeah.
What the hell is this? But on my desktop, it's fine.
But if anybody ever sees it, they're like, oh, see what you're looking at. And it's like, no, I'm trying to find out the ratings on Hog Sports that Trey Biddy put out. Like, come on now. So, that is pretty crazy how that worked out. But still, these are, by the way, these graphics that we're going to talk about. Shout out to the next round. Shout out to my girl Taylor Corn, because she's the one that put out these, and I think they were pretty fascinating. Curtis, I know you retweeted one of them too, but there's 2 of them talking about the SEC in general, and we'll start with the home field. This past 5 seasons, the home field advantage and the records that teams have had, and this is in the SEC percentage wise. So over the last 5 years, Arkansas ranks 14th in the SEC when it comes to their home, 18-14. With a 56.3% right there. So I'll ask it this way, guys, because obviously we watch the games. We know, that it hasn't been exactly great. But are you surprised that it's not higher, lower, or about the same when it comes to comparing it to the rest of the SEC?
I'm sorry, I was reading. What was that question again?
Like, are you surprised that it's not higher or lower than 14th in the SEC? Like, again, we know the numbers, but we just maybe didn't know them compared to other SEC schools. Are we surprised that it's that low?
No. I mean, I don't think that I am really. If I had to think, just if off the top of my head, if we didn't have this graphic and I was like, all right, who does Arkansas have a better home record than over the course of the past 5 seasons? Vandy and Mississippi State would probably be the 2 immediates that came to my mind. And then I'd be going through the rest of them like, I don't know, man. And like we talked a lot even last season, especially before that Tennessee win. Then it didn't take them long after that to remind us of why we felt that way about some of the struggles that they had at home. And for whatever reason, playing a little bit better on the road. And Sam's even kind of acknowledged that. So no, I don't think I'm stunned by that, unfortunately.
Well, my thing is, where is Arkansas at in just terms of wins, period, over the last 5 seasons? Maybe a little bit higher, but they're probably in that same type of range. It reminds me of whenever people cite hitting with runners in scoring position, and they're like, "Oh, you know, we're third in the league." It's like, well, you're third in the league in hitting, period. So it makes sense that you hit about at the same rate. And in this situation, I think it's the same with just winning in general. I think Arkansas maybe is above one more team, but they're probably right in that same range. So it probably makes sense.
Well,
shout out to Georgia.
Yeah, seriously, like it's almost like they've been really good and winning championships or something like that. I thought it was the only thing that I thought was unique, and it was done on purpose. But it's like this past 5 seasons, that's Sam Pittman. It's not like these have been other coaches involved. Like that's the exact amount of years that Sam Pittman has been at Arkansas, heading into his 6th year. So, I think as far as Arkansas goes, that sounds about right. Because we've talked about it. It seems like Arkansas plays, even if they don't win, they play better away from home. I've never understood. It's the craziest thing. Last year you got the Tennessee game, but you played great at Mississippi State. You played good enough at Auburn to win. You even Missouri, which I know they won, but it was like you were in a position to win the game down there in Arlington. Like every other year, you were in a position to win the game against A&M. So Oklahoma State, same thing. So it's just weird how we say that about those. And I know it's about the competition, but then I remember getting blown out by LSU at home, getting blown out by Ole Miss at home. Texas was a little bit closer there too, but it's just strange how, at least over the past few years, it feels like Arkansas, when they get away from Fayetteville, it's when they play their best football.
I'm looking at this graphic. Oklahoma is really the only team that I feel like is out of place, where I think they're higher than they probably should be. Because now I know that this accounts for some years under Lincoln Riley where they went 11-2 or whatever, but it's like, that their rate is a little bit higher to me, but I guess they also haven't been SEC or is this just home field period?
I think home field.
Okay. So then, I guess that really accounts for a lot of wins over Kansas State and such. But I guess like all these teams kind of are in the spot they make sense for. Texas, because they had that 4-8 or 5-7 year under Sark, probably dragged them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll say that I'm surprised by that, but also, and again, I'm not surprised by it because they've had success, but seeing Ole Miss at number 4, because that place is not an intimidating place to play in Oxford. It's not like, oh man, don't want to go and play at night down there in Oxford at Vaught Hemingway.
No big deal.
Yeah, it's like Georgia. Yeah, like Georgia still, guys, the loudest stadium I've ever been in my life.
I'll never forget that first series,
dude. I mean, it was. I wasn't even mad that Arkansas lost as bad as they did, because that wasn't a noon game, but 11 a.m. game. Game day was there. Arkansas was number 8, Georgia's number 1. And I remember like the offensive sequence was just pathetic because they couldn't hear anybody. I was like, dude, it was the loudest I've ever heard. So I'm not surprised by that. But just when I look at, Bama, even Oklahoma is a pretty sizable place. LSU for sure. But seeing Ole Miss and Missouri there at like 4 and 6, it's just what? Like better in Texas A&M, better in Texas, Tennessee.
Every team on this list, obviously these SEC teams, have had at least one year that's kind of an outlier. Like Texas had their 5-7 year. Missouri had that year where they went 11-2, which is kind of their outlier. Florida's had some poo-poo years here lately. Auburn, like every team has had like one year, but Ole Miss has just gone like 9-3 every single year.
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of higher up. LSU had one year where they weren't great necessarily, but like all these teams, there's like one specific year that's kind of gotten them out. Whereas Georgia, all the teams at the top really just haven't had any turnover at all.
Yeah, not at all. Well, and this is the other graphic I wanted to bring up too. This has to do with the winning percentage against ranked opponents over the past 5 seasons. Arkansas, same ranking, number 14 in the SEC. They are 6-11 against ranked opponents, 21.4% of the winning percentage there. Same thing, guys. Higher, lower than what you thought, and also what stands out among the rest of the SEC is maybe some surprises.
This is probably about where I would have expected them to be. I keep going back to what Andrew was saying about like what's your just winning percentage period over this 5-year period here. Now a little surprised to see Auburn. That look, Quinn, dude. I mean, what did Brian Harsin do to you guys? I mean, I didn't realize it was that bad over there. And it's, like 5 years is it's a fairly significant stretch there. Good grief. The Vandy thing doesn't surprise me. Like those wins probably all came this year or something. But I mean, I'm surprised to see Florida that low and Auburn that low. But outside of that, It's probably about right, and it's probably right about where I thought Arkansas would be.
Yeah, probably. I'm a little surprised that Texas A&M is as high as they are. Not that they're like super high, but just because like I feel like Texas A&M is the crushes cans and loses to every good team they play university. But I tell you, all the Tigers, LSU, Missouri, and Auburn might as well make their middle name paper. They just don't beat anybody good. How about that? Auburn has won less games than Sam Pittman against top 25 opponents. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That should never happen. And I understand they've had some coaching changes and some weird things over the last 5 years, but that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's like that. I think was the surprising part of it too, that Arkansas and like Florida are so close. Guys, I'm a little surprised, honestly, by LSU being 7-13. Like, I mean, Kentucky has a much better record against ranked opponents than LSU. A&M, who had fired a coach during that stretch because he wasn't winning enough, has a better record than LSU. Because I believe, guys, Brian Kelly's been there, what now? This is his fourth year, going into his fourth year, I think.
Yeah. He's had some. Brian Kelly's had some like just mediocre LSU teams, and when I say mediocre, I mean like 8-4, 9-3, but like not like your typical LSU where they're beating good teams. Brian Kelly, weirdly enough, is the like kind of beats everyone he's supposed to beat, but doesn't beat the good teams coach historically. So it kind of makes sense, and I think this is right at this cutoff 5 years is right after their Joe Burrow season. So if you included that, it probably bumps it up a good bit.
Yeah. Thank goodness for those Heisman winners or Heisman winner that they had, because talk about LSU, because that would have been changing things a little bit. I will say, just as a fun little trivia question, can you guys, or I don't know what I'll give you. I'll give you respect. Can you name the 2 ranked opponents that Vanderbilt beat? Could you name them?
Alabama.
That's one. Like we know that from last year. Yeah.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech was not ranked when they beat them.
Oh, dang.
I thought that was
they
a great.
Beat somebody else good last year, didn't they?
Did they beat Tennessee last? No, they didn't beat. They just like kind of like competed for a quarter and a half. Who did they beat last year?
Was it last year, John?
No, it wasn't last year.
Oh shoot, I don't know.
So was that other year they went 6-6 under Clark Lee?
Yeah, it's actually the
Auburn?
year they went 5-7. This was back in 2022. I'll just go ahead and tell you, they beat Kentucky when Kentucky was ranked 24th.
Okay.
Also, shout out Kentucky being pretty high on this list.
Yeah,
They were
big
they
game.
had kind of been on a little roll there, and then last year, but hell, even last year, one of their very few wins was at Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
So, like randomly,
Hilarious
that's
to
one of
me.
those ranked wins. But
Dude, Ole Miss is notorious. Like, they are the best at having some very average to below average team beating them and keeping them out of something great. Like, they are, like last year, if they win that Kentucky game, they're in the college football playoff. They should have never lost that game. Like, and then in 2015, they lost to Arkansas that year, where if they win, they're winning. They won the SEC West and they play in the SEC title game. Like, they are just so good.
Hey, that was a good bird.
Championship.
Relax.
now Stoops last year was crazy. Andrew, you remember this because we were at Hazelwood's house watching fights, and they were playing Georgia. And it was the fourth quarter, and it was a 1-score game or whatever. And Stoops punted from midfield with like under 2 minutes left in that game. And we're just like, what is going on here?
It was like 12-10 or something like that. It was the final score.
It was a weird deal. Yeah, wild game, a lot of back and forth, but well, whatever.
Yeah, just crazy seeing some of those numbers to get thrown out there, and just again how wild it is. But we'll get to your chats in a second. But I did want to ask, since we're talking a lot of football, your Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends at Alumni Hall. The number one in the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. You want all your great Razorback apparel, especially getting ready for the football season, summertime, all of that. Go to InsideArkansas.com/alumni hall, or you can visit them in store at 3417 North College Avenue. Use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase and get some of the best Razorback gear you'll ever find. All the apparel, all the nice stuff, all the time. We appreciate our partnership with Alumni Hall. It is, again, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Just a simple question, because we know last year Arkansas went 1-3 in the home games in the SEC, but they played a little bit better on the road. Well, this year the schedule's reversed. There's no doubt that your toughest part of the SEC is all on the road. So if I was to guarantee you guys, that Arkansas wins one SEC road game this upcoming season, which of those road games would you bet on it being against?
So just so I'm clear on the question, am I picking the one that I want? Like, if you said you're guaranteed to get one, I pick the one that I would want the most or the one that I think they could actually win?
Think that they would actually win.
Gotcha. This is okay. I'm going to go a little bit against the grain here. Tennessee.
Sell me. I guess does it start with they ain't got no damn quarterback?
It starts with they ain't got no damn quarterback, and it ends with they haven't beat Arkansas in a hot minute. So
it's true.
That's what I'm going to go with, because I think I know where you guys are going to go.
I like that. Well, you are correct. I am going with Ole Miss. I don't necessarily like. I wouldn't favor Arkansas in this game, but it's early in the year. What is it? Week 3, week 2?
Yeah, 3.
Very early on. Ole Miss is also going to be working in a new quarterback. And honestly, Ole Miss is one of all the SEC teams. If I really just look at every team and say, are they going to be better than they were last year? For most of them, I would say yes. Ole Miss, I don't think I would say yes. Now, they were very good last year. There's a lot of room in between where they were last year and losing to Arkansas at home. But I do think they're one of the teams that I don't necessarily think is going to be improved. I don't think it's going to be a down year for Lane Kiffin. Of course, by week 5 or 6, he's going to have that quarterback throwing for 400 yards. But I think early in the year, Arkansas probably has a better chance to catch them than they do most of these other teams.
I'm going to go against all two of you. You two.
All two of us.
All two of you. I'm saying LSU. And here's why. Because, one, you have a bye week in between, which I know it didn't matter last year. But it's a road game. You play better on the road. And that game is an 11 a.m. kick.
Insane.
Which is absurd. I know that they're at that point in time, we don't even know what this Razorback football team will look like, because you'll be 9 games in. So who knows? Maybe the wheels have fallen off, whatever. But I just feel like that is a setup for that game. And also, I don't think LSU and Brian Kelly, there's still some awkward tension there. I think that there could be a chance where LSU's sitting at 5-4 or whatever, and they're like, ooh, we want this guy out of here. And then it just sets up to where if they loses to Arkansas, they're like, fire this man. And then it just has that feeling of the early kick, the bye week, the vibes of those teams. I don't know. I feel like that could end up being one for Arkansas.
Didn't we get someone fired a couple years ago?
Oh, Arkansas gets everybody fired. If you lose Arkansas, you get fired pretty much. Brian Harsin was the one.
Yeah.
Harsin. Did it happen with the Florida? No, maybe not. No, never mind. That was when Kenny Guyton had just taken over.
Year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I would listen, John. I would love. I love what you laid out, and I love it so much that I'm not even going to disagree with it.
Yeah, that game's weird.
Texas is off the table, is what we're saying.
Yes. Well, it's funny too, because I'm just like, it's the revenge game of the College World Series for beating us twice. It's like, it's not going to be at all.
Won't make up for it. Even a win in Death Valley will not make up for it.
Yeah. Well, not surprising here though, but the audience polling says 37% say Ole Miss.
Okay.
29% say Tennessee.
Okay.
This is what's crazy. 18.5% say Texas, and then 15% say LSU. So everyone who voted, at least according to the numbers, LSU is the least likely of the one that they feel like they would win, which I don't know, find kind of funny. So
okay, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I could see Arch throwing 4 picks in Austin.
Yeah, that would be great.
Also, Arkansas just against Ole Miss historically, for whatever reason, throw the record books out. Arkansas plays them closer than they're supposed to more often than not, and they beat them more often than they're supposed to.
Yeah. I even said that once, and someone was like, oh, well, last year. I was like, yeah, but if you want to play that game, think about, 2022, when Arkansas beat the brakes off of Ole Miss at home, and nobody understood why. So, it's either, it's like blowout city or the craziest type of thing ever happens. That's what it seems to be. But either way, let's go ahead and get into the chat and talk to some of you football fans in there. And it's presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home, where a doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. Basis Health, they're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org, or just go up to that little QR code that we have up there as well. So yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in with us. So we got a few super chats we're going to get to. I'm glad our guy Quinn's back in here, but let's see. Jason Aubrey just says, appreciate super chat. He goes, are we prepared for the loss to A-State?
No,
buddy,
Jason.
They're not losing to Arkansas State. Relax.
Buddy, I am not only fully prepared, but I got it all ready. It's kind of like where David versus Goliath. I've always said this and getting a little biblical. People think, hey, David just beat Goliath with a sling and a rock. It's true, but how many rocks did he gather at the Stony Brook? 5. Why did he gather 5? Because he was prepared for anything. You got to be prepared, and I'm prepared to lose it. I'm prepared to get my heart broken. I'm prepared to get pissed. So I'm always prepared.
Look, man, I do not like, and I understand why you do it with the portal and everything and like the landscape. I'm not a fan of the, get rid of a guy in the middle of the year or, at this bye week or whatever.
Yeah.
You lose to Arkansas State, I will officially be that guy on burn it down mode. It just cannot happen. It can't happen.
Yep.
It's a must win. It's a must win and a can't lose all in one.
Yes.
But also, John, it's not David versus Goliath. It's like the 17-year-old brother should be able to kick the 13-year-old brother's ass. And look, there's older brothers that can kick the 17-year-old's brother's ass, but like you got to at least be able to find that one little brother that you can give a swirly to. You know what I mean? Like you just got to take care of business. It's not David Goliath, but it's like you still need to win.
Yeah, listen. A dead clock is right twice a day. You never know what's going to happen in this stuff.
Didn't Arkansas State give somebody hell last year? They like hung with Michigan for through 3 quarters or something up there.
Yeah, they did play Michigan. Was it Michigan?
I think so. I'm pulling it up right now. They're
right.
I mean, listen, Arkansas State's doing some good stuff.
28-18 in Ann Arbor. This is it was a close game there.
Hey, Sam Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, close game.
Sam Pittman plays his best ball in the Rock at War Memorial Stadium, or at least that's where his biggest blowouts end up happening. So, yeah. I don't even want to think about that path, but
it's a me neither. It's a can't lose, but what they really need to do is beat them by 4 touchdowns and just it's going to be very much a no funny business game, in my opinion, is what it needs to be.
Yeah. I do not want to go into week 3 at Ole Miss just like wanting to jump out of my window and see if the fall at least hurts me really hard. Like I just don't want to do that. I don't want to have anything happen.
What if they won that game as they should? What if they won at Ole Miss? But what if they lost at Memphis? How would you feel?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
they win at Ole Miss but lose at Memphis.
Yeah,
I'd be pissed.
That'd be some Houston nut type stuff right there. That would make me mad.
You said it.
Yeah, that would be the only way you could really hurt me. You know what I mean? Like you can piss me off by losing to a lot of people, but like that would be the only way because we would get so excited and happy after they beat Ole Miss. That would be the one way you could really hurt my feelings. The
trap game before Notre Dame or whatever, and then that'd be brutal.
Well, and to add to that too, it's like at least here recently with Pittman, the times that there has been the most excitement and like going into a game that you've lost, it's like, or when you felt like you were at your best, is one of those deals where you still lost to a really great team. Like when they lost to Georgia, like we just brought up, like Arkansas was 4-0, number 8. Well, you lost to number 1 team and eventual champions. You didn't want to, but it happened. Even last year, after coming off that Tennessee victory, and you had the bye week, and everyone was kind of flying high, you lost to LSU, which it was bad. But again, it wasn't like, golly, well, I don't know how that happened. This one would be the thing of like, how in the world do you go and beat Ole Miss and follow it up with losing to Memphis in the Liberty Bowl? Like, get out of here. That's supposed to be your domain there, Pittman. That's right. Your thing. That's your home away from home.
Bobby says Memphis could be top 25. Hey, Liberty was top 25. Yeah. And I don't know how people feel about that. But for me, it's not so. It's more about just Arkansas and Memphis. Like it's more about the regionality and it's just if you're the University of Arkansas, regardless of circumstances, you can't lose that game. You really shouldn't lose that game. You can, but.
And them beating Ole Miss is also an important part of the equation.
Exactly.
That would mean Arkansas would also most likely be top 25. And look, understand like, being in the top 25 matchup, it makes the loss, sting less, but Hog fans would not handle that well at all.
No.
And too, like if you pull that off going and beating Ole Miss because it's Memphis and they don't have a huge fan base, like half that stadium would be Razorback fans making the trip and like just getting all excited. Yeah. And then you end up losing like 12-10 or something. You're great.
Could you imagine the reaction if we hopped on the post game show and we were like, Yeah, man, Arkansas just lost a tough one on the road to a top 25 team. Like we would get just absolutely annihilated by folks.
But just remember, I'm sure at that point in time, though, a lot of people will be marveling at the job Arkansas had done so far in the season. All right, we got it. Quinn just rolled off a bunch of chats here, super chats. Quinn, you're the best, man. He says, this graphic makes me depressed. Our home field environment is so good, but our team has just choked away games at home over the last 5 years. He also says, all this proves that this is the worst 5-year stretch in Auburn history. It's disgusting, stomach turning. Hey, listen.
It caught me off guard, man.
Yeah. Like, if you really think about it, it's true. But then I was going to say, well, Arkansas has been through that. I was like, well, at least Arkansas had a 9-4 year. Has Auburn even had a 9-4 year in the past 6-7 years? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like their best year might have been 2020 when they went 4-6. like that might be their best season they've had.
Yeah, I guess they haven't.
Through it.
Yeah, crazy. Then he just says, thank you for the censorship. Says, F. Harsin, that guy's a pathetic troll, and get Harsin's bum fired. So
we did get him fired. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But I think that's another reason why we're somewhat endearing to Quinn,
Yeah, because
that's what we did for that program.
we help get your coaches that you really hate fired. That's what we're good at. All right, so a few other chats here too. This one comes from Bo. He says, "What do y'all think Arkansas' ceiling and floor is for this upcoming football season?" Man, to me, the floor, I think, is 3 wins. I mean, I think that's the worst. The ceiling, golly, this sucks to say this. The ceiling to me is 6-6. That's the ceiling, man.
I was gonna say 7.
I mean, I
with
want
8 in a bowl.
I think you can win 9 with the bowl. That would be that's the ceiling. But that would require. Here's the thing. Here's what that would require. So you start off, 4-0 with Memphis and Ole Miss. You'd have to win both of those games. You'd have to pull off one of those road upsets of like LSU or something like that. Yeah, no, I 7-5 actually.
But
I changed my mind. Mid-answer, I changed my mind. It's 7-5, 8 with a bowl game. 8-5 is the ceiling.
For Arkansas to do that, to your point, Andrew, is like, which is funny because we talked about how bad they are at home. Like they would have to just win all their home games, which honestly is probably their easiest games to win, is all their home games besides Notre Dame. That would be really tough. But
how many auto losses are there on the schedule? Like auto losses?
Well, I mean, I think Texas is an auto loss.
Yes.
I think honestly, Tennessee's an auto loss. I really do. I know that you guys may not agree, but I think that's an auto loss. I think also
Notre Dame is probably up there. Is probably an auto loss because they were a playoff team. They're not going to be bad.
Yeah. What are the auto wins?
A&M, Alabama, A&M. That is. I think you have
Arkansas State. I mean, come on, man.
Arkansas State's an auto win. No, they are an auto win. Undoubtedly, they are an auto win.
Like they should, if they're going to get where they want, like they would need to win that 2-week stretch against Auburn and Mississippi State at home, which they don't play well at home. But like those are 2 games. Like if you're going to make a bowl and everything, you should win at home. And honestly, Missouri should be in on that too, but they're not going to beat Missouri. Like they're just not going to do it.
I can declare 8-4 the ceiling because if you beat Missouri, Ole Miss, which are very hard, you beat Auburn, you beat Mississippi State, who you beat last year, and then you beat Memphis, you beat Alabama A&M. What's the other non-conference game?
Arkansas State.
Is that 7 wins? Is there no more wins left? I wasn't counting with you, but I think that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Because there's some of these, like A&M. I have no idea what to expect out of A&M. Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to be, I feel like they're going to be better than Arkansas, but are they going to be a team that goes 7-5? Or are they going to be a team that goes 10-2? I don't know.
Right. Hey, David, what we're doing is talking about the
ceiling.
The ceiling. And the floor. Yeah. We're responding to the question.
We all agree the floor is 3-9. That's the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
The ceiling,
3-9 floor. Final
answer. And understand what ceiling means. It means like all the like the 50-50s going your way. Like the ball bouncing your way every time. Mm-hmm. That's what a ceiling is. So
yeah. Well, Heartbroken Hog even says ceiling 9-3. TG wins Heisman. Floors 4-8. Sam fired, buddy. I don't know if that's a ceiling.
I mean, like the only thing. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if you think Taylor Green is a Heisman potential type of quarterback, then anything under 6-6 should not be acceptable at all. You know what I mean? Like, then your floor should be 6-6. If you think Taylor Green can win the Heisman,
I mean, I don't. It's not saying anything bad against Taylor Green, but man, to have that happen would take so much for other teams to not do. Let's see. Rob also says, if you were Sam and thought you had 7 wins in the regular season, would you tell anybody?
So the answer here is no, because even if he thought he had 9 wins, coaches don't really do that. You know what I mean? They don't go to the meeting and be like, you know what, guys, I think we can go 8-4. I think we got it. You know what I mean? But seriously though, no, still. And I also wouldn't be like pumping my chest if I were Sam Pittman, thinking even if I had an angel come and tell me you're guaranteed to go 7-5, I still wouldn't pump my chest out, because that's hard to pump your chest out about. You know what I mean? Like, and we just said 7-5 is the ceiling. I would probably just lean into this underdog role and be like, listen, everyone's counting us out. Everyone thinks we can't compete. Let's just see what happens. And then if you go 7-5, like, that's, you know, I think Hog fans would get behind that, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, maybe so. J. Peter 6 says, put TG on a better team and he'd be in the conversation at least. He wasn't in the conversation at Boise. So, I mean,
a team that had a Heisman finalist, by the way.
Yeah, a better team with a more favorable path to putting up those stats. So.
And by the way, we defended Taylor Green as much as anybody in the state last year. It was you guys, and I'm not saying you specifically, whoever was a commented, but like, it was the fans that hated Taylor Green, that were like wanting to replace him and all that. I don't know how we went from he shouldn't start over Malachi Singleton to he should be in the Heisman conversation. Where the hell? Where did we get there? What happened?
Well, again, it goes from some fans have a reasonable thing down here, and some people have a reasonable thing up here. It's like this is talking season. People are going to fluctuate like crazy for sure.
Some guys are just collegiate athletes that just are going to play there 4 or 5 years, and they're going to go on it. Like, some guys are just guys. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody has a freaking a floor of they're the worst player ever and the ceiling of a Heisman.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I like this from Austin from work, where he just goes, let's be honest, though. I'm one coach video from buying in, which.
Oh, yeah. A lot of folks are, man. I love those videos.
Listen, if Travis Williams, starts really buying me in again, and he just turns this defense into a competent one, I'll get behind him. I'll hear him out.
Yeah, I mean, no. If he has this defense, honestly, if he has this defense, statistically speaking, as good as it was, or at least the same level as it was last year, that's going to be an incredible thing to me. Like, incredible, because you don't have Landon Jackson.
It would be impressive. And honestly, I think I said that last year. I was like, dude, if Arkansas has a competent defense, I will be very impressed with T. Will. And I don't know. I'm referring to T. Will, the defensive coordinator, because obviously he's the one who gets to choose the defense as well. So.
Right. Exactly. We'll get to more of your chats, folks. But I want to remind everybody that here on the show, we're brought to you by our friends over at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. The weather is great outside, and you want to be on a boat because there's something about nice weather, being on a boat, especially here in the state of Arkansas, and one of the great bodies of water that they have, and just relaxing, kicking back. But then if you own your own boat, you know that you got to pay for it. You got to get the slip. You got maintenance. You got all that nonsense you got to deal with. And it sucks. Nobody wants to deal with that. Well, luckily for you, that's what Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas can help you out with. You get access to the boats, but without commitment. This is the boating that fits your lifestyle. It's fun, flexible, and stress-free. They got 3 locations in Arkansas where lake time is closer than you think. If it's Greers Ferry Lake, if it's Lake Hamilton down in Hot Springs, if it's even on the river down there in Little Rock on the Arkansas River, Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas will make sure that your summer is literally the best one yet. We're excited to be on a boat here soon, and we'll give you some details on that with Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. But you can check out their website and learn more about them at freedomboatclubar.com. That's freedomboatclubar.com today, or you can scan that QR code at the top right corner of your screen. Learn more about the benefits of joining the club with Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. A few more chats here too. I like this from Curdy Wilkes. Just says, imagine watching Arkansas lose to Memphis and then getting stabbed walking back to your car. Bad day. Yeah, that would suck. That would be bad. Would be tough.
Way too realistic.
Jeez, man. Let's see. Hazelwood, our guy Hazelwood says, Mike Norvell has built all their rosters entirely through the portal. Their results the past 2 seasons, seen really good, seen really bad. What that method does show is how volatile it can be.
That's true.
I think this is a great point because, again, it's basically what Arkansas's trying to do is just every single year starting from square one. And Florida State is kind of doing a similar thing. Florida State is in a different conference and in a different state and just has a whole different circumstance to operate with. And even they are having extremely tough times sustaining success and really having year consistent, the same expectations. And so it is kind of crazy that, like, that's Arkansas's preferred method of choices. Like, we're going to try and be basically a poor man's version of this program that went 4-8 last year.
Well, and I like this too, because we were talking about the floor and the ceiling and everything. But this comes from Bits for Me. Says, hey, fellas, what is the minimum amount of wins to feel like we had a successful football season? Which, success when it comes to wins and losses is pretty subjective depending on who you are. But if you were going to get done with this year and look back and say that was a successful season, what would that be in wins and losses?
7 regular season.
Even
though it's a harder schedule, like, it's not, it has to be better than what last year was. And even that's not going to be enough for a lot of folks out there, and I get the mediocrity and everything like that. But it to me, the strength of schedule argument has gone out the window with the way a lot of people feel. Like, I think they've got to show actual improvement in the win-loss column. And so for me, it would be at least one more than you had a year ago.
Yeah, I think I would accept 6-6 because, what am I going to do? Not accept it? I don't really have a choice. You get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. But I think 7-5 is the only thing. I don't even know if I would for sure be like thrilled about it, but I would definitely be like, all right, that's a step in the right direction. Cool. And it's not terribly dissimilar from how we felt going into last year, where we were like, they win 6-6, go 6-6, we'll be fine. They go 7-5, we'll be pleased. And I think if they had beaten Missouri at the end of the year, a lot of our conversations this offseason would probably be different. If they go 7-5, especially given the schedule and just kind of the expectation, they would be really outperforming expectations. I'd have a hard time not being like pretty pleased if they went 7-5.
No, if they went 7-5, I'd be thrilled. Like, I honestly would, because of the circumstances, the expectation, the schedule. Because let's be honest, if you got 7 wins, we just went through a lot of that schedule. That would include at least 2 like big wins, like really massive wins at least. So yeah, I mean, I'd sign up for that and say it was successful. And I mean, also to take this roster and win more games than what you did last season, where last season was an easier schedule. I mean, you really got to look at it from that lens too.
We would also go into the offseason and be like, you know what? They could build something from this. Because, if Arkansas is going to go 7-5, there would have to be a lot of people step up and give Arkansas good contributions. Obviously, you'd probably have to replace Talon. I guess he maybe would have a year left. Maybe you get him back for a 5th or 6th year, whatever that would be. But I think the program would be in a spot to where you could at least maybe have a stable offseason where you don't have to replace the whole roster. Maybe you're able to add some pieces in, and then you could at least have a good feeling. Whereas I don't know if that existed last summer necessarily.
Yeah, and I like that from David. Apparently, he just wanted to be my nickname. He says, John can't accept mediocrity neighbors. How many wins and losses would it take for you to want Sam fired? Well, I think it's tough when you say you want someone fired. But it's, to me, I mean, I was one of those that felt like you should have moved on after this last season. That was just me. But this year, I think that if you go only 6 wins or less, changes have to be made. I just feel that way. You can't have... That would be 3 out of 4 years going 6-6, where the other year going 4-8, and going into that 7th season of Sam Pittman and just expecting that everything's still good in the up and up. You just can't do that. So that would be my thought on it. Also, Heartbroken, I appreciate the super chat. He goes, I don't actually expect him to be in the Heisman conversation talking about Talon Green. I expect him to be much more efficient, though, and I think we go 7-5. I hope he is. I really do. I hope he's efficient. I hope he's great. I hope this team goes 7-5. It'd be awesome. It's just really tough because of what we know. We only know what we know. And what we know is that you lost your entire wide receiving core. You had to replace the majority of your offensive line. You lost your best running back. And you had some other guys come in too. And you had to replace the entire tight end group, essentially. So there's just so much newness around. It's hard to feel good about, oh, yeah, it'll be better, because you just don't know who's going to be his go-to wide receiver. I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows at this point. So I'm going to bring this up too from Razor. Just crack me up. Says, anybody remember Darren McFadden, runner up for the Heisman 2 times? Both times he was on a mediocre team. Now, Razor, I'm not like
10-2 team one of those years.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not like calling you out or anything like that, my man. It's just, you got to remember that team, again, won the SEC West outright, but you also had Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, who were really good in the running back room. You had an offensive line in front of Darren McFadden that were seasoned vets that have been there for years that were really good. You had a defense with a Jamal Anderson, who was a number 8 pick overall, Chris Houston, who was a second-round pick at the cornerback position. You had Sam Olajubutu, which is still one of the coolest names ever, who was just like that Martrell Spate-type linebacker that just was a dude and was a senior. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they were the greatest team ever. And that's also, too, during the time where the SEC was not the SEC what it is now. So, you had some things go your way. It was a better team than maybe what I got credit for. I wouldn't call it a mediocre team, though. You had some good dudes.
I would also say Darren McFadden is not like a sustainable, if you just put a good player in this situation, he can win the Heisman. Like, Darren McFadden is a once-in-a-lifetime player and talent and just, existence. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if, that necessarily applies to the Taylon Green situation coming off of a 59%, 12-touchdown season. You know what I mean? I don't see the connection between Taylon and D-Mac.
No, I mean, he's the D-Mac's
or this team and that team, any of those connections.
Yeah, D-Mac is a generational player, just plain and simple. A few more chats here, too, because I got to get Quinn super chats. I don't want to forget him. He goes, to be honest, no offense, but the Arkansas roster is probably bottom 4 in the SEC. Well, I don't think anyone should take offense because I think it's pretty factual. Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah. And then Quinn also says, I love T. Will. Us Auburn folks want him to succeed. Well, I knew that. Wasn't there a time where Auburn had a DC opening maybe over the past couple of years and Arkansas fans were worried he was going to go take it at Auburn? Or am I just making that up?
Is it not this past all? I don't know. Or maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was Florida State or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, also, T. Will's first year at Arkansas got obliterated by Auburn, and there were some allegations that, hey, maybe he wasn't super locked in, but then he goes to Auburn last year and just single-handedly wins Arkansas the game, and so that cleared it up. But I think now we know, which, by the way, T. Will, I want to shout out to him because he has been supporting the Diamond Pig and, bringing his family to the games, posting pictures, shouting out the team a lot. I love that. I love to see coaches support at the University of Arkansas, and T. Will is a hog. He's proven that.
He certainly is that. We'll have more of your chats, folks, here in just a bit, but we do have to get to who our heavy hitters are, and it's presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction, because we know storms are crazy, and here in Arkansas, the weather's crazy. You never know when they're going to hit, and you never know what your roof is even going to look like, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't really spend a whole lot of time on my roof. I don't get to look at it. I don't get to see, oh, yeah, that's in great shape or it's not. But that's okay, because HD Roofing Construction can give you a free inspection and give you that peace of mind. And when you choose HD Roofing, you know you're going to get that professionalism, top quality materials, expert installations for all of your roofing needs. And you can check out the website at hdarkansas.com or call them today for that free inspection at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. It's HD Roofing and Construction, which also shout out to our guy Jacoda, where he says he's working from home, but HD is on his house right now. He even sent us a picture of it on Twitter. It says getting that new roof and everything else as we speak. So
screenshot this and send it to HD.
Yeah. Be like, hey, look, Jacoda, this guy, he's getting it done. So, but no, we appreciate that, Jacoda. I know HD appreciates it as well. So, you got to have a good roof. I don't know about y'all. And also, nice house, Jacoda. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. You sent that picture out. I'm like, okay, yeah. Let's say you got some dollars in your bank, so you have so much money. Every time you spit, someone's there to catch it. So, yeah, appreciate you and appreciate HD Roofing. All right. So, my heavy hitter for today, and I want you guys to stay with me on this, is Jeff Goodman. Jeff Goodman is my heavy hitter for today. Here's why. He put out this tweet I wanted to bring up when the New York Knicks are struggling to find coaches and they're going through all that. And he put out this tweet saying, we were getting closer and closer to the Calipari/Kenny Payne package deal with Worldwide West moving to the bench. He's kind of been on this train a little bit, and we know he's got a history of talking about Cal. Here's why he's my heavy hitter, because he has been so committed to the bit of no matter what happens, no matter what success comes his way or whatever success comes Cal's way or whatever it is, he refuses to let it go. And I actually respect somebody that is notorious for having such awful takes that instead of backing away from him, he doubles down on him. And he just continues to be that guy to where he's just like, I know that I've lost all my credibility and all my respect, especially when it comes to knowing the game of basketball and coaches and everything. But I'm still going to go out there and say some pretty stupid stuff on social media. And I'm still going to go out there and let everybody know that I don't like John Calipari, and then try to mask it under I'm just stating facts. I'm just talking about the issues. So the reason he's my heavy hitter is because he's committed to it, man. He is so great at being awful, and I respect the man for that. And so I know a lot of Razorback fans have probably unfollowed him by now, and I probably should too, but I just can't help it. It's like, it's so hilarious to me just how horrible it is. And so I just want to make him my heavy hitter and how consistently awful he is, because that's what's really tough to do, is be that awful and have that many horrible takes, especially dealing with John Calipari and the Razorback basketball team.
Oh man. Yeah. You send him to the Knicks. Oh, he started Quade Green over SGA for 8 games. Oh my God. He's got all these draft picks and one national title. Shut the hell up, dude. I'm so tired of that guy. And it's always like, Cal tried to get him fired, as if Jeff Goodman has ever needed help getting fired from anywhere. Really? Like, you needed Cal's help to get fired from it? I mean, what are we talking about here? Yeah, sure. He can be a heavy hitter. Dude drives me nuts, man. But you're right. He knows what he's doing though.
Oh yeah.
It's commitment to the bit. It's the rage bait. It gets you what you need. And, so be it. And, for a while, his partner in crime, Rob Dowster, would really get under my skin. But he's kind of switching up a little bit. And now he does a really good job, I think, of every time they go live, he winds up making, he kind of forces Goodman to have to say something, semi-positive about Cal, or like acknowledge something that he's doing well currently or whatever. And so Dowster is starting to win me back over, whereas Goodman is, he never had me, but he's completely lost me.
John thought that this segment was heavy hitter, who's hitting the pubs the hardest, and I think that's why he had Goodman, but he's mistaken. We're supposed to be picking people we like, John. Come on.
Yeah, I see where you're going there. I followed you.
Thank you.
I respect the move there. I mean, we don't get political here. If we did, then I would say our heavy hitter is our president for challenging Andrew Ellis for the F-bomb counter on the air.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. I mean, it's heavy. Dan Gafford, you know what I'm saying? Like, get paid, young man, get paid. What was that extension? 3 years, 60
mil.
Ooh. I mean, he said towards the end of the season that he wanted to be paid like a starting center. Well, you got that, brother. Very happy for him, man. It's well-deserved, an underrated career, and he continues to get better and be more impactful. That's, that's that life-altering money right there, baby. He's good to go at this point.
I'm pointing right at all the people who, when Daniel Gafford was a sophomore at Arkansas, were like, he needs to come back, learn a post hook, needs to work on his game. He's not ready for the NBA. He was ready for the NBA. Daniel Gafford is actually, he's awesome. He's a great hog. I mean, he had 2 great years at Arkansas. He was fun to watch. Just a funny personality, like a very expressive gentleman. It's always fun to watch. But also, like, in terms of his game, one of the most easy to get behind. Like, exactly what he is. He's a big center that can jump really high and can dunk and block shots. And it's like, that's his skill set. If you want him to be something different, he's not. That's what he is. And he's going to make a lot of money doing it. And it's just awesome. Someone who just knows exactly what his role is on a team, knows exactly what to do. Really excited for him. And, he's going to end up playing over a decade in the league, man. Like, that's big time stuff. Curtis, you'll appreciate my heavy hitter. The college football game is coming out, I guess, in like 2 weeks, not too long from now. And I wasn't thrilled last year with the return. Like, I was excited when it came back. I played it for a while, but then after about 2 weeks, I was like, okay, there's really not much nuance here. There's not many layers to this. You kind of get bored with it. I'm already like to the point where I'm like, I'm going to buy the next one. They've got me again. You've got me hooked. It looks like it's going to be pretty much the same game, but Curtis, did you see your boy is in the game?
My boy?
Pop-Tart mascot is in the game. He is one of 1,000. They added a ton of mascots. They've added the coaches as well, but they've added a ton of mascots, including the Pop-Tart. I don't know how elaborate the celebration, like the full, if they're going to do the full going in the toaster oven bit and, the players come and eat them. I don't know. I want to see that. Maybe we'll ask, but I thought that was really cool to see the Pop-Tart guy in there. It really finalized my decision. I'm getting the game 100%. And also, when we play with Arkansas, they get paid off of it. So I like that. My other heavy hitter is Skip Bayless.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
So he's done this crazy thing with his wife. And Skip Bayless, I think everyone is familiar with him, the former First Take guy. Now he's at FS1. I think he just has his own show now. But he has started putting out these 7.5-minute videos with his wife where they just discuss random things. And yesterday, I sent it to Curtis and John, does a video titled "My Celebrity Hall Pass is ... And it's just him and his wife Ernstine, and they just talk about which celebrities they'd like to hook up with, except they were all celebrities they've interacted with. Like his wife was like, I saw Al Pacino and I handed him a t-shirt at a grocery store when I was working for this company, and he was just so handsome. God, I'd really like to be with him. And then Skip was like, well, we went and saw Donnie and Marie Osmond a few years ago, and Marie looked pretty good. And so I don't know. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's the craziest thing ever. But I loved it.
It was one of the wildest 7.5 minutes of my life.
I watched
sitting there listening to that. That was something else. I don't know if I can co-sign on the heavy hitter for a guy who was begging to be cucked. He was like, Al, you can have her tonight. Available. She is available for you right now. I'm like, God, guy. Yeah, that was something. I didn't know that this was a recurring, they did these things. I know this, the hall pass was probably the peak of the mountaintop there or whatever.
Of this.
Okay. I got to go back and watch the other two, but that was, I quote tweeted it 100 times and typed something out and deleted it. I was like, I just really don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I got through a little bit of that video and I'm like, I don't think there's ever a time I like people to make as much money as possible, but that's, I think, the mentality when you make too much money and you can just do something like that and just be like, what we're going to do. That's when you've made too much money where you're just like, I have so much money. It doesn't matter what I say or do or any crazy things I say. I'm just going to put this video out for no reason at all. It's not like it's sponsored by, Cupid's lingerie or anything. It's just like, no, I'm going to put this out there and you just let it sit and you move on with your life. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I did want to, this was actually probably should have, I wanted to lead off with this one too, but I was going back. Did you guys see old Bert Bielema on Pardon My Take?
I did. I saw a clip. I saw one clip. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I have not seen this. No.
Okay. So there was a few clips, but this one I wanted to bring up because you guys remember Brad Bielema. The dude is incredible at taking shots at people so subtly and just moving on. The amount of shots that he takes into this one thing about other guys and other people and other coaches while also still trying to pay homage and respect to him is wild. Because you guys remember with the whole hint thing with him and Shane Beamer last year, when Shane Beamer's having to get held back and all that. Well, they asked him about it, and here's the clip from Pardon My Take.
Status of some of the beefs. Shane Beamer, have you talked to him?
Yeah, I actually called him. I'm very, I get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
But that one was kind of more of just a little moment in the game. So I literally called him. There was later in January we have a coaches convention, and I knew his dad was getting an award, so I probably knew he was going to be there. And I was going to try to make it to the event, couldn't do it, so I called him and had a conversation, and was very, very cordial. So I think you gotta get past those moments. That ended up being a rule change.
Yeah.
So probably in the good of the game, it was actually a good thing that it happened.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff, when I'm pimping Lane, I wasn't really going at him. I was agreeing with him, right? I was like, hey, you should be in the playoffs.
Illinois should be talked about. Yeah, 3 losses. All right, what about Jim Harbaugh?
I have not talked to Jim.
Okay, that one's still.
But,
that's
I've never really had a problem with him, but it was just that moment, that scenario. Actually, his strength coach Ben Herbert,
yeah, we actually interviewed him last year.
Did he?
Incredibly impressive guy. Yeah,
stares through your soul.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
But when I got let go at Arkansas, Jim hired 4 of my strength coaches to Michigan, and that's kind of when they made their turn.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I got respect. I love his family. Love his dad. He's good people.
So I just wanted to play that because first of all, you saw it there at the end. He's just like, yeah, well, Michigan, they didn't really, get going till they hired my strength coaches. We wanted to make that known. I love the thing where he's talking about with Lane Kiffin in the tweet. He's like, no, I was actually agreeing with him. I was agreeing with Lane. I wasn't disagreeing with him. He should have been in the playoffs, of course. And then the thing with Shane Beamer, they got the rule change, guys. I don't know if you guys knew that. They changed rule because I was right. So it's just so funny how he's really good at that exact thing of just saying things, getting his point across, moving on to it, being like, it's not coming off disrespectful, but I am disrespectful. But, hey, this is the way it is. So old Bert, man, that dude talks faster than anybody I've ever seen with a deep voice. It's incredible. So either way, had to throw him out there too.
I saw the clip where he was talking about how he ended up on Bill Belichick's staff as a whatever. I think it's like a consultant to the head coach. Basically, Bill Belichick just started like giving him random tasks. Yeah. And then like once football season rolled around, he's like, hey, you want to just come join us? And like, we'll just give you a fake title or whatever. And it was like, but he literally was just like, hey, can you drive me to the store? Can you drive me here? Can you take this over here? And then eventually it just turned into a consultant to the head coach. But like, that's how Brett Bielema got back in coaching after Arkansas. Is just like doing random. He was like an intern for Bill Belichick. It was crazy.
It's crazy, man. So I had to give him a shout out there too. We'll have some more chats, of course, but I want to do a little buy or sell action presented by our friends over at BetSaracen, the number one sports betting app in the state of Arkansas for a reason, because they're the best at it. And you can get in all the future bets when it comes to all things college football. Of course, you got Major League Baseball still going on right now. You can get all the different parlays, money lines, specials each and every time, each and everything, and get in on it because the odds are great, and you're not going to have a better sports betting app in the state than what BetSaracen is going to provide. So download it on your iPhone or on your Android, or you go to BetSaracen.com to get the betting and winning today. So a little buy or sell action. All right, so a lot of these may be football related, but we also had our research team submit ones for us personally. But we'll start with this. Buy or sell that Arkansas will have more home SEC wins in football than they did last year, which was 1.
Buy.
Okay.
What are all the SEC home games? I don't have the schedule in front of me.
They're going to beat Auburn and Mississippi State at home, so they're going to have to.
And then A&M and Missouri are the other 2.
I'm buying it.
Okay. I mean, for sure they win just as many, though, right? Like, for sure they win just as many.
They beat Mississippi State at home. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then I think Auburn and Missouri are a split.
Okay, good. How about this one? Buy or sell that Arkansas will win at least 1 trophy game this season.
It better be Missouri.
It's not going to be.
Not going to be Missouri, dude.
They don't beat them.
So if we're assuming they don't beat Missouri, what's the next most likely trophy game? A&M?
Yeah,
Nah, they're not beating A&M.
Is that still a trophy game?
Maybe not anymore.
I don't know anymore. Like, I assume.
Jerry's cutting expenses. He ain't trying to shell out another trophy.
I'll sell that one.
All right. I'm probably selling it too.
Are they going to create a trophy for the Arkansas State game, or?
I swear they better not.
I'm going to buy it actually because I think they have to beat Missouri or else it's over.
Yeah. I still think they should have named, instead of the Battle Line rivalry, just the winner gets Branson. That's what they should have named it.
Yeah,
that one too. Man, that would be corrupt. Let's see. Also, buy or sell, Arkansas's largest margin of victory against FBS opponents this year will be 14 points or more.
They beat Arkansas State by 2 touchdowns? Come on.
Buying it. Yeah.
Okay.
I really, it makes me nervous because there's a whole lot to lose in that game. But if they don't beat them by 3 or more touchdowns, I mean, it's,
Yeah. 41-21.
So I could see something like that.
Okay. But would that be the only game you could see Arkansas winning by 2 touchdowns or more?
They could do it to Memphis. They could do it to Mississippi State. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'll get one.
They got at least an ass whipping and a half in them, John.
Okay. I'm hoping so. It'd be nice to have games that, we can do post games and be like, man, that was fun. That's what I'm hoping for. How about this? This is just a random one, but buy or sell that Arkansas will have a special teams touchdown during this season.
So
buy.
Okay.
Who's running?
Cam Shanks? Okay. Yeah. I could buy that.
He's about that life,
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. Andrew got frozen again.
It hasn't happened in a while.
I know. He was doing good. That's a great face, though. I will say,
he's like, who's running a punt back?
But I'll say also too, I'll say buy, but it's because Arkansas gets a blocked field goal and runs it back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's exactly how it's going to go down.
Seems harder than like any of the other ones.
I know. That's why I feel like Arkansas is going to do it, because they won't do the easy ones. They'll have some random crap happen. But hey, listen, it's about that Scott Fountain special teams, baby.
Cam Shanks does kind of he does like owe us one, right?
Well, yeah, I think it was, preseason all SEC punt returner?
If you're brought in to be the punt returner guy, you kind of have to, run one back.
Return one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so these were ones for us personal by our research team. How about this? Buy or sell that Andrew could have gotten at least one hit in 119 pitches against Gage Wood.
Major sell alert.
No, bro. I'm not better than the Murray State baseball team. Like, let's relax.
I feel like if you're one guy that had you get to see 119 straight, you couldn't at least get lucky on one.
Dude, I could see
it. Done the same approach and just peppered fastballs at the top of the zone. I don't think I could hit 90, let alone 98.
I could see 1,019 of those pitches and not hit one.
What if you bunted?
Dude, no, never bunt.
Fair. I was probably going to sell it too, but I was hoping Andrew would be like, yeah, I mean, I could get one,
Yeah, I didn't Gage Wood. Maybe Parker Coyle.
Yeah, there you go. Buy or sell that Curtis would have a better chance of beating DJ Wagner. It's supposed to be Wagner, not Wanger. But Wagner in one-on-one than Malik Thomas.
Oh, God. I mean, what does that mean? A better chance, like 0.001 to 0.002, or
yep.
like
exactly better.
I buy this because I think Malik Thomas is a probably really good one-on-one player.
He's a one-on-one merchant. Here's the thing about Leak is he would have me on skates so quick. I'm not saying DJ wouldn't, but Leak is that guy. I mean, that's what they do in OTE. Like, he's a tough shot maker, an ISO guy that would get brutal.
Plus size-wise, I mean, I know they're listed at similar heights. Malik's like 6'6" and DJ's like 6'2".
He's long, yeah. That'd be tough.
They're not both 6'4". I think you would, and DJ has a lot of good skill sets, but I don't know if one-on-one is where he shines.
It would probably be a skunk against both, but maybe I don't know. Could I back Leak down and get a jump hook off like once?
I think you could give DJ Wagner three attempts and just kind of hope he misses jumpers.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't score.
So how about that between the two of you? What's more likely? Andrew gets a hit on Gage Wood or Curtis beats one of these guys in one-on-one?
Beats him in one-on-one?
Oh, shoot.
I think I can accidentally – I can maybe a hit there, but like in terms of like –
pokes one in the opposite field, yeah.
Yeah. I think Curtis scoring on them is way, way more likely than me getting a hit.
Okay. That's fair. I also love our research team. They give you guys good ones and like really cool ones for sports and all of that stuff. And this is the one I get. Buy or sell that John will cry during a post-game stream this football season.
Yeah, I think if they beat anybody, they're not supposed to beat John will cry.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Probably so. Because he's a soy boy.
Yeah, when they beat Missouri and John gets to finally dunk on Eli Drinkwitz, he'll
if I end up crying after beating Missouri, then you guys need to put me out to pasture like Old Yeller. Then I'm got more problems I know what to deal with. But no, it's not going to be what would happen. I think what it would happen would have to be like Arkansas's had a pretty good like build up in season and stuff, and then they end up beating like Notre Dame and some like if they were undefeated and they beat Notre Dame and did it like really cool, something like that. I don't know, but I'm selling it. I'm tired of crying on streams and post games, both out of happiness and out of sadness. Getting out of that. Sick of it. So either way. Well, we'll have some of your chats, folks. Don't worry. I know we got some wild ones, but we'll do that. I did want to bring this up as part of our What to Watch For presented by our friends at Bryant Technologies, where they are delivering that high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions to you, where they take pride in that exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping the business operations that you have seamlessly connected and secure. It could be structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, or TV mounting. Bryant Technologies has you covered, where they service the entire state of Arkansas as well as Arkansas's bordering states. So have Bryant Technologies help you with all of your network and security needs. Give them a call today at 870-883-0330. And you can also check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com with that S in between. bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. So I wanted to bring this up as far as what to watch. because I know we've been talking a lot of football, but you retweeted Curtis, I know. But how about the latest bracketology for Joe Lunardi, for Arkansas this upcoming basketball season?
Go ahead, John.
What's that?
Go ahead. I know where this is headed.
He's got Arkansas as a 5 seed with a little down arrow, which is BS. I hate that arrow. He's got them going down.
They've dropped their stock in recent weeks.
Got to drop them for existing. Yeah.
Yep, that's true. That's true, because you can't have nothing happening. You got to have something happen. You probably saw those tweets from Cal, and he's like, I don't like this at all. It's just like I don't like the fact that he's calling out his wife for Instagram posts. It's like I got to move him down. He's not focused. But either way, has him as a 5 seed taking on Yale as the 12 seed. So get that going in Buffalo.
I'm on the no-fly list, so I don't even know if I could go.
That's why we got to drive.
I'd be happy to. Yeah.
So we got to drive there.
Exactly.
John just wants to drive to Buffalo again.
He does, man.
Would y'all at least go back to Niagara Falls for me?
You can go by yourself. I'm not going back.
I'd go with you.
What do you have better to do than go to Niagara Falls on an off day?
I still have plenty of buffalo wing places to eat that I didn't get a chance to do over there. So
Curtis, we'll have a good time at Niagara Falls.
No, I'd go to Niagara Falls. I was just saying that because it's like one of those things where you see it and you're like, all right, cool.
See, but I haven't seen it, John.
I know.
Think about it's about me. It's always about me. Quit thinking about anything else. It's me.
No, that's fair. But yeah, Arkansas would be great to go up there to Buffalo. I will say though, Curtis and Andrew, but if we all went to Buffalo, we would go back to Barbill, which had the best wings that we had up there.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
Place was really good. Anchor Bar, where I guess wasn't that the place they said buffalo wings were invented?
Yeah,
a little overrated. Just saying, they're fine, they're good, but they weren't next level. But I also wanted to try that place. What was the place that Barstool I think always talked about? There's some other, I think, buffalo.
I feel like I could come up with that name because I've heard it 1,000 times.
Yeah. But it's like the one that's almost like takeout wings. I don't know. But either way, there's some other places we'd have to try.
Is there anything worse than a place that's in a city that it's like one of those obligatory, everyone lobs it up for you? Like, oh, you got to go to this one. And then like you go to it and it's not bad, but it's just like you kind of know you're at a tourist place and you're like, okay, it didn't blow my mind. Is that the worst thing that can happen where you just waste 2 hours of your trip into that city where you're like, you made me do this, like just obvious. Like, honestly, Curtis, it's like the Arch. The Arch is the worst possible thing to do in St. Louis, and I've done it twice.
Yeah.
And, like, I've done it twice, and I'm like, all right, cool. I even went inside of it, went up in the little thing up there. You probably do need to do that once, but it's like you get done with it, and you're just like, all right, what are we doing now?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's
Rendezvous Barbecue in Memphis is that, by the way.
You said Rendezvous?
Rendezvous
100%.
Barbecue is that in Memphis, where it's like, it's good. It's not bad. It's good, but it's like, oh, well, thank God I came here and spent $39 on these ribs that everyone told me I had to get.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different if it's like if you're having to be convinced of it because this person's just like selling it hardcore and then ends up being that way, it's different. But if you're just looking like, hey, I want to do kind of the touristy thing, and they're like, oh, well, you got to do this at least once, and I go, it's not a big deal. But if I'm like apprehensive, or at least it's I'm like, I don't know, and they're like, no, you got to do this, you got to do it. It ends up being kind of crappy. That to me sucks. It does. So,
yeah.
But either way, I don't know. I hate that we keep talking about Buffalo. I swear, I already went to San Francisco twice. And if I have to go to Buffalo twice, I'm going to, dude, with all these other cities, like Oklahoma City, that'd be so easy. I mean, we could make a day trip out of it if we wanted to. St. Louis would be nice to see, Curtis's, the mean streets of STL over there. You
don't want to do that any more than you want to do it in Memphis, but I feel
yeah. But Tampa, I love the city of Tampa. Tampa's cool. I'd love to go there. Greenville's whatever, but it's different. San Diego, I've never been there, but they're gonna end up in Buffalo. Even Philadelphia, I've never been to, so I'd like to maybe go there. Here, the food's awesome. So either way, it's the latest bracketology. So be on the lookout, Razorback fans. Book your trip to Buffalo. You're playing Yale.
I can already tell if we go to Philly, we're going to get annoying of the like, everyone says you go to this cheesesteak, but this cheesesteak is the one. Don't go to that one. Don't go to this one. That's the tourist one. Go to this one. It's 35 minutes outside. You're going to have to Uber. It's going to cost $70 to get over there, but you got to go to this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be. It's like, I even thought that up when we went on our trip back from Omaha, where I'm like, there's nothing worse than like the people who do like dog food shaming of you, where it's just like, oh, what do you feed your dog? I feed them this. Oh, you might as well be feeding them candy. You got to do this. Everybody's that way. And the same thing with like protein bars or something for workouts. It's like, oh, what protein bar? I'm doing this one. Oh my goodness. You might as well just get a Butterfinger bar. It's like, shut up and just let me be mine. All right.
Let me want to not share experiences with people, honestly. I'm just not going to tell you what I'm doing in my life.
Really though.
Yeah, seriously, just so annoying. But either way. Also, the 1 seeds, real quick: Houston, Duke, Purdue, Florida. Kind of boring, to be honest.
See 3 of you.
Mm-hmm. 14 SEC teams making it in, though, again, according to Joe Lunardi.
Dude, a lot of SEC teams on the bubble, too. I saw Georgia on the bubble. I saw A&M was the last 4 in. I think Ole Miss is in the first 4 buys, too, which, like, is Ole Miss and Chris Beard, are they just going to go, 21-12 every year? Is that just what's going to happen here?
Probably. I gotta say though, and it's it's like a way too early thing. So like I'm all for independent thought and not doing the groupthink deal. This is not Joe's best work. I'm gonna rant about that a little bit on the Pod at the Palace, but like he's got teams that are like unanimously viewed as top 10 programs, like 7 seeds. He's all over the place with this particular one. So I wish that he did a thing where he like describe, like why I'm higher or lower on certain teams than most or whatever, just to like explain yourself, bro. Like Louisville, for example, like everybody's got them as a top 10. He's got them as a damn 7 seed. They might be number 7 in the country. He's got him as a 7 seed. So like, I don't understand the line of thinking there unless you're just really, for some reason, not high on them. So good ESPN content would be explain yourself, Joe.
Well, also got a hot take too. He's got Kentucky as a 3 seed. I guarantee you they will be lower than a 3 seed.
I like that too.
Yeah, that's my guarantee.
Seed.
Yep. All right. So a few chats here before we here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hey, our guy Mark. Appreciate you, Mark. Good to hear from you. He just says, okay, what's it going to take for Ellis to get rid of the retro Blake Shelton mullet? I thought it was coming off if the Hogs made it to Omaha. No, as if the Hogs made it to the finals in Omaha.
Yeah. I wouldn't have put my hair up for the grabs. Omaha I thought was a guarantee, and it turned out to be a guarantee. I wouldn't have put my hair on the line for that. But once they fell behind and needed to win 4 straight, I was like, look, if they win 4 straight, I'll do it. They got halfway there.
Man,
Mark,
on a prayer.
Mark, was our 7'2" Angolan assassin what was lurking under the surface that you kept teasing us about for like 3 weeks? Is that what it was? That's what let me know.
Yeah, we got to find out or it's going to be something. What if he says no and he just doesn't follow up with anything?
He probably will do exactly that.
Yeah. Like, oh, geez. Let's see a few other ones here. Our guy Jakota says, can we talk about how Musk put USC verbiage on his pick of all the pro Hogs champions, but our guy Gus tagged the Hogs? Gus is for the people. I didn't even see that, but I assume.
I also,
USC
by the way,
verbiage.
Yeah, I don't know what he said. I didn't see the tweet. I also am like just okay with this. You know what I mean? Like I obviously, those guys didn't play for USC, but it's like Muss is the coach at USC. He's well within his rights to use guys that he coached that are in the NBA to recruit to USC. We do that kind of jokingly with Cal sometimes, like,
yeah.
But I do love that Gus was like, hey, those are Hogs.
Yes. Make sure that they were known. Joshua Tripp says, would you guys rather the Hogs play A-State or UCA in football? I mean, personally, I don't care, but I probably UCA just because reasons, I guess.
Well, if you're going to play an FCS team, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to play, the thing with Arkansas State is they're FBS. It's like it's almost like too close for comfort. UCA, yeah, if you're gonna do a bye game, you might as well do a bye game with one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean,
UCA should have beat Arkansas State last year. By the way, they got robbed. Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
robbed. I tell you,
that was rough. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Let's see. Patrick just wanted to say, also, did you feel the same way about Goodman when he was covering Cal at Kentucky? No,
yes.
Because he was at Kentucky. I mean, I didn't personally because it was just at Kentucky, but I know Goodman's been kind of a tool for a while.
Douchebag, as it relates to Arkansas. He was that way with Muss. He was damn sure that way with Mike Anderson. Like, this is not a new phenomenon here just because Cal came over. Yeah. I didn't even know about his beef with Cal really until Cal got over here, but he's been a Arkansas coach hater for quite some time. This goes back over a decade.
dude, he was crazy. The Mike Anderson stuff is definitely when I officially turned on Jeff Goodman. Like I never really like had an opinion, but like when he started doing the thing when Mike got hired at St. John's and he's like, this guy should not be a collegiate coach. This guy is the worst head coach in Division I basketball and all this. I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was wild, dude.
Yeah. I don't get it. But there's just like, we were talking about it, and I know it's a little bit different of a person, but like that Ben Mintz guy from Barstool talks about Arkansas baseball fans like the worst fans in baseball. I'm like, but based on what? Like it's been a bit now for years. And I'm like, what are you basing it on to where you're like, they're the worst? But then like, you're like, oh yeah, but Ole Miss fans, LSU fans were fine. I'm like, come on. Like, what is it that, who touched you? You know, like what happened? So it's just weird. Bo says, Curtis, bruh, your Cards cannot beat my Cubs or I will be very sad. Y'all put belt to us last night.
Yeah, the 4 2-run homers will do that. We'll see how the rest of the series plays out. Listen, I wore this hat for a reason today. I had to turn around because I feel like it's kind of giving off Unabomber vibes, and that's not what I was trying to do today. But listen, I'm repping the Cardinals. I'll be in St. Louis this weekend. I hope that they sweep those Cubbies right out of there. But I will give you kudos for your squad being off to a good start this year.
Our guy Nick, who's been a member for a month. Hey, thanks, Nick. He says special teams going to let us down again. I mean, it wasn't like, was it bad last year? Am I missing one game?
Well, they couldn't really kick.
Kicking field goals was tough. Yeah, that was a tough one.
The field goals, once they got a new kicker in, was better.
Yeah, Shipley wasn't bad.
Who is the kicker?
It's a great question, Curtis.
Okay.
Then they bring back
it's the freshman, right?
I think it's going to end up being the freshman, but they have technically a battle going on. So really, we'll find out in fall camp.
We know who the punter is, and that's all that really matters here. So
yeah, the punt. I mean, Arkansas's punt was top 10 unit in the country last year. Nick.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Kickoffs were pretty good too, I think.
Yeah. Like, what more do you want? Yeah, because you got Blake Ford.
Oh yeah, John, you're looking at
start.
Yeah, Blake Ford, who's the transfer from North Texas. Scott Starzik, that's the freshman. And then Charlie Von Der Med. How do you say that? Von Der Meeden?
Yeah. They do like Charlie Von Der. Charlie Von Der Meeden might do the kickoffs one of these days.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Yeah, I think Starzik is probably the minus 200 favorite to get the duties.
I don't care who kicks it on kickoff as long as you just get it to the end zone and not let anything get returned. Just do that.
Starzik is from the Woodlands, Texas.
Dallas area? Is that what that is?
Sounds right.
Probably.
Yeah. Also like that Charlie Von Der Meeden or whatever's from Tomball, Texas. Like, what in the world? Where's Tomball, Texas? I haven't even heard of that. So, okay. Let's see a few other chats here. I like this or I guess maybe I started. I can't remember if one of us who started of us, but Escar says, I had some thoughts this morning. Is Arkansas a problem that we want to be relevant in too many sports? Can we choose baseball or basketball and just go with it?
Here's the thing. It's not like the funds that are allocated and the things they do in these other sports are affecting football. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Hunter Yurachek sitting down there and he's like, hey, we're going to take these funds and instead of going all in on football, we're going to like disperse it to all these different sports. A lot of these sports that Arkansas is thriving in, basketball and baseball are kind of exceptions, but a lot of the sports Arkansas is thriving in are sports that they don't dedicate hardly any money to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. They've ponied up to pay DIFL and stuff like that, but it's not like the athletic department is like, funneling a bunch of stuff over to tennis and softball and soccer. You know what I mean? Like, they are good at those sports, and it's cool that they're good at those sports. It's not like getting in the way of football. They should have no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel like this has been a common thing because I think some people have even seen like Missouri because they're horrible in pretty much everything but football, and they go all in on football. So they're like, oh, well, that. But it's like, you see, like I think Ole Miss is an example of like they're good in football, pretty good in basketball. Baseball's pretty solid. Like they've done some stuff. Florida kind of the same way. I know football hasn't been where it needs to be, but it's not for lack of NIL. It's not lack for support. So it's possible. It's just a matter of having the right people in charge there. Transplanted Texan just says the Arkansas football X account drives zero engagement and excitement. Maybe DVH should lend them the baseball X account intern. Maybe so. But it's a lot easier to do when things are going good. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all they could do. I know I'm someone who gets picky about stuff they tweet out or stuff they don't, but I just don't know at this point in time of the season and the offseason, like, what do you want them to put out? Like, hey, look at this video that we had. earlier this year. with this
Right.
guy.
'Cause
It's like,
that is the thing right now. All they really can do is lift weights and run.
yeah, pretty
And
much.
they're putting out some pictures of that. So
Yeah, at least you got that too. Let's see. Oh, can't forget when got a super chat, but he said before we got Dirk in, we were looking at T. Will to come in. That's what he was talking about. So yeah, I do remember that. Let's see. Also, Bench just says low key John's shirt is hitting. Thank you. It's my Darty edition, and it feels good.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, very subtle. Also, just a couple
Charlie Sheen vibes.
like, oh yeah, what was it? Yeah, 2.5 Men. I don't know why I can.
2.5 Men. Yeah.
Was it the bowling shirts he always had? Yeah, like same vibe there too. Yeah. A couple of real quick ones I want to bring up. This just made me laugh, and I'm not trying to be this way, but it did make me laugh. I'm a big Sophie Cunningham fan, just to be honest, in the WNBA, and she's been trying to protect Caitlin Clark and all that. You saw that she got fined by the WNBA for the altercation that transpired, and whatever. She was fined $400. So it's one
$400. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Dang, dude, they got you for more than that when you parked in lot 99.
Yep. But it's okay though, because apparently from that now her jersey is sold out, and everybody's a big fan of hers. I'm sure it's just because she's that enforcer, no other reason. But either way, $400. I don't know. I just saw that. I'm like, all right, well, hopefully
she learned her lesson.
Do you write a check? Does it just get taken out of your account? Cashier's check? I don't really know.
That shit.
Shout out to Sophie for protecting the brand.
Yep. She knows what's up. She knows what's up.
Enforcer.
All right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out here for the day?
Nope.
Well, tune into the Bombastic Podcast. We've been talking about the portal. It's going pretty good. There's some good fine young men on campus for the Pigs. Looks like they're going to have another good portal class.
Great to hear. I have no final thoughts either, other than just appreciation. Appreciate all of you who watch in, listen in, and hang out with us each and every day here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page, as well as all of our social media at Inside Arkansas. You can also subscribe and download the audio version of the podcast wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. And we're going to keep it moving here this week through all things Inside Arkansas. So that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.